Hey guys, Corey here. The Digital Nerd Advocates are honored to be a part of Phoenix Overdrive's Extra Life team. Put your money where the miracles are. You can be a hero to the kids of Children's Miracle Network as fundraising for Extra Life continues through December 31st, 2016. National Game Day has been announced and it will take place on November 5th, 2016. I will be joining Lee, Ray, and Becky of Nerd Overdrive, as well as others, in upstate New York to help celebrate and raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Remember that you do not need to select Phoenix Overdrive's primary hospital to raise money for. You can raise money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital, wherever that may be. It's for the kids. Check out digitalnerdadvocates.com/pawnextralife for more details, as well as links to the Extra Life team page and the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection PS4 bundle raffle information. What's up, nerds? Welcome to DNA Dualshocked, our all PlayStation show. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan, alongside me, as always, Adam McGill.
What's up, everyone?
Fallen Little Angel, Twitch and YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share.
Woo-hoo.
What's up, Adam?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good.
It's been a week.
Yeah, I hear you, but glad to be back on another show.
Yeah. And joining us, Edward Varnell. You know him from World 1-1, Optional Opinion, and DNA Power Block, and this show. Ed, I'm so glad you're here. This guy joins us while he's on vacation to do a podcast.
The Sticky Burger and King Gyros, so good.
Look at this guy.
I'm going to be coming back to Illinois real fat, and I'm loving it.
You're making me hungry, Ed.
But hello, everybody.
Hello.
You're making me so hungry. Anyways, we're here to talk PlayStation. As you know, we always talk about what we've been playing first. So, Adam, I'm going to start with you. Some of that Axiom Verge?
I was just playing that to amuse myself, and took lots of Tales. I think I uploaded like 2 more 3 or 4 hour videos. Doing some side quests, optional quests before going back to gameplay. I think I'm really close. I'm hoping to probably knock that game out in the next week. It's been pretty epic, so I think I might do a final review at the end. I'd like to do, but Tales never disappoints. What can I say? And then I also heard from someone that was watching my channel last week. There's another one on the horizon that's coming, which is good. So that's something to look forward to. And then the other day just started Song of the Deep, and that's a great pickup for I think it was $20 I got a couple of weeks ago that I shared. So if you haven't played that yet, and you like Metroidvania style games, that's a must pick up game. I think quite impressed so far. That's what I've been up to.
Nice. Ed, what have you been playing?
I finished Sleeping Dogs on Xbox One, but PlayStation-wise, Mega Man 4 is garbage. Please do not play that. Save your time. Just if you do play it, just get the achievement that you beat the game.
I'm pretty sure at this point we can just tell everybody just to play Mega Man 2, 3, 9, and 10.
5 is good. I like 5.
Yeah, I can't wait to play 5 and 6. And I took it out and started playing Dragon Quest Heroes. Really fantastic game. I think I'm gonna start Tales of Zestiria later on this coming week, Adam. Because I need an RPG. I'm still in the case, and it's just like I need to start this game. Because every time I watch you twitching, I just be like, I need to play catch up to where he's at.
It's so yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I'm liking more right now, but for me, for Symphonia, it felt more grounded with your enemy. This one, no, it's not rude any because you're a shepherd, so almost treated like a god, a protector, or whatever. So it's more based on the main character than I find the epic story that surrounds the group. So it's a little bit different than Symphonia, but still quite good.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all I've been playing for PlayStation 4. I know I still need to start Just Cause 3 also. But other than that, that's what I've been playing.
Nice. I've
Oh, whoa, wait. Sorry, wrong one. Hey, it was something a little epic also that went on this week.
Oh yeah.
We popped in Destiny, and we raided, and we pretty much one-shot the whole entire raid. I'm not playing in like December, so I thought that was pretty epic this week.
We only died we only wiped like twice.
And it was on the switching of the puzzle. Not all the big bosses.
I know it was like the first like mini challenge where like there's these two relays where like you split up into two teams of three. And you have to relay this aura between the three of you, and like while you're doing that, there's enemies that you have to take down, like and there's all these things happening and stuff, and like that was the only part that we wiped. It's one of the easier parts of the whole raid, and we had to wipe twice. But other than that, I don't think we wiped on the War Priest.
Nope. No, we just one-shotted everything after that.
We didn't wipe on Gogoroth. And then we waited on David for like a half hour to jump up to get to the sisters.
And I had a good recording the whole thing, except because I know how to record chat audio now.
Yeah.
For my Twitch. I didn't unmute my mic because I thought I didn't have to because I was recording chat channel and I'm coming through chat, but it doesn't pick up my voice. It just picks up your guys' voice in the channel.
Yeah.
So, I got the full recording of it, but it doesn't. It has me talking, but you can't hear me, but you can hear everyone else in the group.
Well,
talking.
Here's the thing. I also recorded it on Twitch, and what I did was I streamed it on Twitch, and then I recorded it through my game capture software, and then I recorded me, Joey, and Brian all sitting in the same room together.
They mixed it.
Okay.
So like our voices are coming through on the microphone, but yours, Patrick's, and David's are coming through the chat audio of the Twitch stream. So I got everybody's voices.
You have the HD Elgato, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a $10 cord you can buy, which it's off their web. I think I got it off eBay or Amazon. And basically, it's a cord that runs from Elgato and then runs to your controller, and then you can split it off to your headset, and then splits off to your PC, whatever. So that's how I can record both without having to do that. You can look up the cord if you want to, but that's what they were having other people like making their own, just split the audio.
Yeah.
Taking out their own, and so that's how I'm doing it. But stupid me, I was just like, oh, I didn't click the button to unmute my mic. But that's still fun. I'm hoping like at least I was getting it all set up and tested for when the new stuff comes out in 30 days.
Yeah, and like before we started, I was playing Destiny. I'm trying to get my moments of triumph, and I need to do the Argonarch rune, which is what I've been working on, and I need to do my exotic sword quest. But I mean, other than that, that's all I got to do.
I did the second mission on Destiny on Xbox One. Yay! I'm making progress.
Yay!
Did you enjoy playing it though?
He's not far enough. The campaign isn't fun. I mean, it's okay, but that's not why you play
If you played
Destiny.
it once, the second time you go around to do it, you get faster and faster and faster. Because I remember my third character, I think I got to level 20 within a few hours. Like, it's so quick once you know where to go and where to.
Once you start stacking your bounties and stuff.
You do everything on hard.
I think it's not. I'm not saying that it's not keeping my interest, but it's just like I don't know why I feel like I need to dedicate time to play it.
It's a hard game to do because it's a game that took over probably the same thing. Took over our lives. But we were not playing any other game for months.
I told you before, like when the Taken King came out, that's the only game from the day the Taken King came out until Rise of the Tomb Raider came out. I literally didn't play any other game except for Destiny until Rise of the Tomb Raider came out.
for me personally, it's just like after I read the reviews and stuff, I just didn't find no interest. Like, there's something about Bungie that I just don't really care about their games because they're good games, but it's just like I play better.
I think what was missing from this game, but this is another game that also went through. It didn't go through development hell. It went through shit at the end of before release, where you got your writer getting let go, the whole music guy. Well, he won his settlement.
Yeah.
And then, you didn't get the one of those things where you feel like you didn't get the full game, but I think they won people over because they were the first ones to come out with that whole raiding style of 6 people playing a raid and a shooter. There's still not only anyone else that's. I wouldn't compare Division to doing that either, because that's Bunch missions. I wouldn't call it raiding mechanic. That hasn't really impressed me at all. But I think that's what held people over. It's like, hey, this is something different, and the level design. I think the AI is it's actually quite good. I thought. Versus like this could take an open world game like the Division. Where I'm going to give you the same 4 or 5 enemies from level 1 to level 30, and still today in raids, except for you have a boss with a different name, who's got a different name above his head, but he's still the same similar mechanic,
I think I hold Borderlands 2 over Destiny, and I feel like Borderlands 2 is quite fun and better than Destiny. Just due to the fact that, well, yeah, I mean, due to the fact that Borderlands 2 was just, I guess, a better story, and the missions and stuff were were kind of funny and stuff. That kept me addicted to playing it. Like, but Destiny is just like I'm playing it, and I'm just like, it's just a shooter to me.
If you played the game since the beginning and stayed with it, you saw a game evolve in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With every single expansion that's why like Destiny 2 when it's released is like they're going to be more on top of releasing like WoW and other few games seasonal content, and
I think
to let them know what's coming instead of trying to hide themselves, which they're learning with their new director running the community. So to me, like it almost like people say, oh, it was kind of like the first 6 months was beta, but I actually quite enjoyed the beta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why in the chat I compared No Man's Sky to Destiny, with the problems that's going on and how people are kind of responding to it.
Well, I think I saw 3 videos on this. I think it's just a game that was overhyped.
Destiny was too. I think Destiny was overhyped.
No,
also.
to me, it's like I saw the few videos. Like, it's a game I still kind of wanted to play, but not a game I want to play and drop $60, $70 on. It's a game I'd probably drop $30 on. And now when I saw the videos that were weeks before release, I think I said in the previous DualShock videos that, okay, now I'm intrigued because they were showing off the shooting mechanics and stuff like that. But now that this game is released, and I've watched, Broman, and Goliath, and a few others play this game, every time I tune into what people playing this game, there's just shooting asteroids or rocks on a planet, gathering materials, and saving up to buy stuff. There's not much.
Yeah, I heard it was just
action happening in the game.
I heard it's like when you land on a planet, it gets very repetitive, like kind of doing the 3 to 5 same things over and over on each planet. And it's just like, well, is this the case? Because I was even thinking about this. That's like flying games like No Man's Sky and Star Fox Zero. It's just like, is flying games like these not interesting genre no more? Like, cause even Star Fox Zero, it was not overhyped, but people were looking forward to it, and for some people it was a big disappointment. No Man's Sky was overhyped, and it just kind of feels it's good, but it's not what it seems to be. So some people feel
like that before though. If they fixed the controls, I think it probably would have got a higher score. I think the controls really turned people off in that game.
because I don't think all the scores for No Man's Sky is out. Only ones that I read was Destructoid.
I think a few, like, I think IGN is still reviewing the game.
Really? Yeah. Because I know Destructoid gave it a 7.0. And pretty much the Star Fox Zero got 6.5, 7.0s. They said it's not a bad game, but
just above average. So like it's still worth checking out, but like not your overhyped, like your Skyrims or your GTA or your whatever. But I still feel like I might be one of those guys that picks up the game when it's either relaunched with everything else in it or it drops down to $30.
I'll catch it on a sale.
Multiplayer is kind of coming for it down the road, and yeah, I mean,
I'd compare No Man's Sky more to like a Minecraft type game where like it's just gonna keep evolving. I know, but I'm saying.
I mean,
some people are like Minecraft because it's really just you're just gathering materials.
Well, but it felt like No Man's Sky when it was released, it was a full package, and anything else that came from it, like new content and stuff, would be like DLC. So to have the problems that it's having and the way people are discussing about it, it's just like it's not what it seemed what the trailer made it to be. Like they thought they was getting a full package, and I guess it is somewhat a full package, but not to the level that people expect it to be. Now the PC players, I cannot believe what is going on with that. Like wow. Because didn't the PS4 and the PC version come out at the same time? Didn't they both come out Tuesday?
No, the PC version came out on Friday.
Yeah, it was launched on Steam, I think at 1 o'clock in the like in the afternoon or something like that. It was an afternoon launch. And then everything went downhill.
Okay, so what was the problems with the PC version? Is it just not booting up correctly?
They were, I don't know why, they failed to give the game to the chip publishers prior to releasing the game. And most PC launches give it to their NVIDIA cards or ATI, whoever, AMD. They get the drivers ready for their game, test it to make sure it works. No, they didn't do any of that. They just launched the game. And then people haven't. I think the most common one I think I've seen with Goliath, he's crashed or dropped. It like drops frame rates. They'll be walking along and then like it just stutters. And like you'll see them try to quit the game, and it's like almost like dragging the mouse really slow, and then they just come back in, and the game is fine. But it almost seems like a memory leak at that point. But it's good. It could take a week probably for these card makers to come out. There probably will be a fix, and hopefully resolve the problems. But I don't know.
Wow.
Hopefully not a Batman.
Now the bet.
I like on Steam. The Steam has like instant refund on that game.
On Batman, it's weird. I don't know how many other games have done that besides Final Fantasy 14, which was just a mess from the beginning. Like games being released on PC that they had to take it down to pretty much refix the whole game. Like
the difference on Final Fantasy 14 1.0, the game wasn't broke. So game launch wasn't like that. The game wasn't buggy or broken. The game was just bad mechanics. It was just awful. It's the first game I stopped playing in 30 days of an MMO. Like it was like, even though when you macroed everything up to equip your gear, it was still awful. The world was nice. It was still, the enemies were cool, but it was just like, it was a chore to play the game. And but 2.0, to me, they knocked it out of the park. Awesome.
Realm Reborn. I still need to play that game. I still say that's probably just a great soundtrack. Like I would love to see them play that soundtrack in concerts. In that game, and because I think Final Fantasy 14 music is like completely phenomenal. Like Final Fantasy, they always had good music, but 14, man,
the story is 2 and 14. I don't know. So you guys have both not played 14?
Not yet. I haven't.
So like,
14
like your typical MMO, you're leveling your characters, your classes, or whatever. But on the last 3 or 4 missions of your main story campaign is like you do one mission by yourself as a group, and then the last 2 you actually team up as a raid all together to complete the story as a raid and a group, and it's so epic. To do that instead of like most character games and modes, you just you defeat your master, enemy, whatever, and that's it. This, like, you come together with other players and you fight this 2 epic bosses, and I was like, that's different. And yeah, as you said, the music score makes it so good to do that. But I mean, I stopped playing last December, but I don't have time to raid. But yeah, it's like how much of a hit and how much money does it cost to delay a game to come back to do that? I have no idea. I guess we could have that. Unless you want to jump into that discussion too with the 15. Rumor is maybe delayed. No official announcement from Square, but
yeah, I just read a thing on Game Informer because I was looking for like some of the websites that have been saying that Final Fantasy 15's been delayed. Like, Game Informer just wrote a thing that said announcement is coming. An announcement is rumored to be coming tomorrow about the Final Fantasy 15 delay. It isn't confirmed, but there's a ton of evidence saying that they're going to make an official announcement tomorrow, or sometime next week. Kotaku, Amnesia, IGN is even reporting it, so it's like
it's pretty credible. But to me, like, until it officially comes out and announce it,
yeah,
I'm a little ticked off by it. I'm like,
but
yes, but I'm just like, I'm kind of used to delays now in games. But it's just like Square is almost as bad as Nintendo when it comes to announcing release dates on games. It's like almost like they shouldn't do it until like they're officially like ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
like, they haven't put an announcement date on Kingdom Hearts 3, and how long has that been in development?
Yeah.
Shoot, probably ages. But it's kind of like also with like Bloodborne. Like they did a whole big press conference. Sony did a press conference that Bloodborne was supposed to come out in February. Straight got delayed. Like even when they announced it, I'm like, this game is gonna be delayed. No way is Bloodborne gonna come out in February.
Yeah, but
got delayed.
The difference is Bloodborne got announced a year before it was released. Final Fantasy 15's been in development for 10 years.
Well,
and like the way they delayed this is like November 29th is after Black Friday. That's the Tuesday after Black Friday in the States, which is like the biggest shopping day of the whole year, which is when like a lot of developers are trying to push their games out before Black Friday or Cyber Monday to try to get those holiday sales, and that puts that even outside of that. And like the only other major games that are coming out after that are like South Park comes out in December, and Gravity Rush 2 is coming out in December, and I think Mario Party for 3DS is coming out in December. And like putting
were days after November? Or the games after November?
Yeah. Or after Black Friday. After Black Friday. Yeah. Which is like insane to put a game this big outside of Black Friday.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what else? I mean, well, besides September and October.
The only thing I could think of is like Persona 5 comes out on September 15th in Japan. So maybe the only thing I can think of is if they want to get out of Persona's way, because Persona at this point is bigger than Final Fantasy in Japan.
It's quite big, yeah.
So, like, I wonder if they just want to get out of their way for that or something.
Well, this brings up another question. Then, if the Persona thing is part of it, what about the collector's edition for Final Fantasy 15? Did they make enough copies, and they need more time to fill those orders so a delay can happen?
Well, then what they should do is don't delay the game. Just be like, look, we didn't have enough orders to fill pre-orders. Yours is coming a little bit later down the line. I mean,
that has happened.
Kingsglaive is coming.
Yeah, but
Kingsglaive is coming up the end of this month, right? The movie.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not really. I
I
don't think
mean,
I'm going to
I
see
mean,
it, but
I'm gonna see it.
I mean, I think once they make if they make this announcement, they're going to have to explain to us why did it get delayed
Nah, they're not gonna do
and
that.
what is. But they have to, because then everybody's gonna be like, "Well, why did you delay it?" Like, because you can't say we need more time for production. You just did a whole big presentation about this. You had Greg Miller and the other guy from Kind of Funny did this whole presentation that you guys set up to make this big deal about this game.
yeah, and like to
So now
set
you
a
delay
release
it,
date. Like that was like the whole
right?
announcement was to set the release date. Like, look, finally bringing this thing out, and we're not moving from this release date. Now they're moving from the release date, supposedly. So
You already released 3 tracks, and everybody. I haven't heard the Florence and Machine version of Stand By Me yet. I gotta listen to it. People are saying that music is good, like the 3 tracks that they released. So if the music is good, set to go, what is it about this game that you guys are delaying? And if it's, I believe it's personally the VR thing. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, or I know you guys don't agree, but I think it's the VR thing. I think it has to be with PlayStation VR. Uh,
I just think it's typical. They set expectations and they're not meeting them, or they're not ready. I think it's just it's simple. I think there was
I
other
mean,
games out there in the last couple of years where they delayed like a month, if that, and then the game released.
maybe it's simply just polish because the E3 demos weren't running so great.
ooh, that E3 demo was
Uh,
a horrendous mess.
I mean, it could just be like that, you know. It could just be something as simple as polish too, because the whole thing is like, I swear that like Final Fantasy 15 VR is a separate game from Final Fantasy 15. I mean, like, I swear it's a separate game.
I
If
probably
only
have to
if only I
watch
had
it
a
again.
contraption in front of me that could tell me that kind of thing.
Um, Also, do you think that it could be a patch that's supposed to be coming that they're working on, and they want to make sure that when the game comes out, that patch goes along with it? Do you think it could be one of uh, that kind
We're
of
all
thing?
accustomed to day one patches now, but I think No Man's Sky just had a huge one on release. Um, yeah, I don't. 2 months really is not a long time, and I kind of it does allow me personally to play these other games. Like I think it's September 6th. Trials of Cold Steel sequels coming out for the PS3. Um, Looking
Hmm.
forward to bouncing that. So that kind of opens the door, and then they got the Destiny, the Rise of Iron coming out on the 30th.
Yep.
So that gives me what 2 months to probably play the content of Destiny, which will probably suck 3 or 4 nights a week out of me. Um, so I kind of like relieved.
Well, and
uh,
plus, I think plus you got Rise of the Tomb Raider is in October, right? I believe.
Yeah, and if
yeah,
you
that's true.
have Xbox, Gears of War 4 is also coming out.
So
on
it
there.
almost
Because
kind of like it works out to the games that I want to play and don't have to compete with each other. Um,
right,
I've
because I
already
know
played.
for
I've already
me,
played the demos, and because I bought Type Zero, even played the up-to-date demo.
okay.
I'm looking forward to playing it already, but we'll see. I mean, I don't. If it was a year, I'd be like, 2 months. It's just like just disappointed.
I mean,
I'll get
I
over it.
have Paper Mario, Gears 4, and The Last Guardian. So I'm kind of good with those 3 games
That's great. That's right.
before November. I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I could wait because of me playing it on Xbox One. Uh, but we'll have a discussion about that
Now,
later.
is Last Guardian
Another
going to live
day.
up to the hype? That's the question.
Um, I think it will. I think even if it doesn't, if I get, I don't know. I don't. I mean, because Eco, they haven't really disappointed with any of their games that came out. Not Eco. Oh, goodness, I cannot think of the company's name. I don't think they're disappointed with their Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. So if The Last Guardian is a disappointment, I think it'll be kind of like in the Destiny, No Man's Sky thing. That it'll probably get like a 7.0, 7.5. That you know, we were hype about it because there's so much to it that we've been waiting for, and I think we were moved by the art style, the music, and seeing how these two characters react. And I think we were really taken in by the design of the bird dog. And even with their ups and downs, they're good at what they do.
So the style, yeah, for sure, I'll give it, yeah.
Yeah, and their games are more promising than a lot of Square Enix games. I can say that personally for me.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I just want Final Fantasy 12. That's all I want.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
You're like the end boss in that game.
I still think Final Fantasy 12 is like super underrated. I feel like
it's a divided game. Like people like you loved it or you didn't.
I feel like it's PlayStation 2's version of like Final Fantasy 9, where like it has a super cult following, but there's other games on the platform that are remembered more fondly than that one. But like Final Fantasy 9, I think is the best PS1 Final Fantasy game, but everybody always turns back to 7, whereas Final Fantasy 10 is kind of looked at as the better of the Final Fantasy games released on PS2, but a lot of people love 12.
I mean, I love
10 is not better. It's the mini games I think in 10 are really good.
I mean, I love 12 because I feel like this is my introduction to MMOs. Like I feel like it was the easier MMO to get into, style game I should say, and just the grinding in there. It's just like it's so fun in that game.
I just enjoy the story a lot more in 12 versus 10, 9.
The political stuff in 12 is super interesting.
I do like the. I don't mind the story in 8. I just didn't like the combat in 8. But the 12, I loved it, and I couldn't get over. I'm like, how did you not like the story? And they couldn't get over, especially the build up at so.
I think the story in 12 at one point kind of lost me because I was just like,
it does get super complicated at some points.
Yeah.
But
and beat this. If Fighting Sid was that battle with Fighting Sid was, oh goodness, I'm glad that I was able to get through it. Even being part of that game, that fight was difficult.
Yeah.
That's fortunate in that point in the late in the series, the cutscenes were just gorgeous too. Before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
That's something they've always been good at, though, is cutscenes. Like, I just remember like 8 and 9's cutscenes were amazing, especially that opening cutscene of 9, where like you see the airship kind of flying in, and then it's like, it just kind of gives you an overall like view of what's going to happen in the game, and you see like Dagger and like all the characters in like super awesome CG. It's just I just think something Square's always done well is CG cutscenes, and 12 and 9 and 10 all have great ones. Especially 10, that opening scene where like he's playing blitzball and like Sin is coming in and Arn just opens the jar and like you just see like all the water flow from the blitzball stadium out, and like Tidus is hanging on by the ledge and he just kind of like falls. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Okay. Well,
jumping in Nordic Games.
Yeah, Nordic Games, who, if you remember, purchased most of THQ's IP after the fire sale when THQ went under, is rebranding itself to THQ Nordic to kind of reinvigorate the THQ licenses and IP and stuff. And they have 13 unannounced games in development. hope one of them's Darksiders 3 because that game is kind of underappreciated. I feel like they're not like amazing games, but they're super underappreciated. Especially 2. 2's amazing.
I mean, a good action role-playing game if you want to see it that way. Darksiders, of course, everybody compared it to the Legend of Zelda series. This is the remake I'm looking forward to. Not remake, but the HD version. I'm looking forward to. Darksiders 2 is just a really long game, but it's really good.
It is. And I think it was like something like 50 or 60 hours I almost put into Darksiders 2.
Right.
Because when I got my Wii U, like I had New Super Mario Brothers U and Darksiders 2 were like the only 2 games I had for a long time. And like so.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Darksiders 3. Hopefully it moves forward after 1 and 2. Hopefully they throw in what was the next one? Because it was
they changed
Death.
It was War and Death were the first 2, but for the games they changed the third and fourth Horseman's names to sound more actiony or whatever. So hold on, I'm gonna look those up real quick. But like I remember in an interview right after Darksiders 2 came out, and they were talking about the Wii U version of it and how they were hoping like Darksiders would turn into like a 4-player co-op type game at some point where like 4 players would take each one of the horsemen and just kind of go their own ways, like a kind of like a 3D-ish Diablo type game. Not like the top-down stuff that Diablo is, but and that kind of sounded interesting. But I kind of really like the single-player aspect of Darksiders. I don't know how that would work in. War and Death are the first 2, and then they changed the names from Pestilence and Famine to Strife and Fury were the other 2.
Okay.
So they put out, just looking at their games, like it's not like they're putting out like dismal titles. I mean, they got that Darksiders Complete Edition and stuff like that, but the Legend of the K, or Kai, or whatever that came out for Wii, and I think they're coming out with I think it's called the War Master Edition for. But they have assisted it with other games. I believe Quantum Break.
Oh, I know they have Saints Row also.
So it's not like they haven't involved in AAA games.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to remember back in the day, with like Darksiders was a PlayStation and PC only, right?
No, it came out for 360.
It came to 360. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm just looking at the Archaea I got on the PS3. I didn't know it was a PS4. Painkiller, which I thought was good. Hell and Damnation was a good game too. That's a rare game, by the way.
Yeah, because Darksiders 2 came out for PS3 and 360 also. Because I think when Darksiders first came out, the Wii was still available. The Wii U hadn't been out yet. When the first game came out.
Yeah. Another game I was kind of thinking they might be working on is they own the Red Faction franchise.
They do, yeah. It's been a while.
Oh, Red Faction is done. They won't bring that back.
Oh, I think so. I think that this is the perfect generation to bring
they won't bring it back.
Red Faction back.
I think because they ended the story after the last one came out.
Yeah, but they could reboot it. That's the big thing right now is rebooting everything. Let's reboot this. We'll sell more.
I think the way that the last one sold, I don't think they'll bring it back.
Yeah, if they do, I feel like the first Red Faction and Red Faction Guerrilla in particular are 2 games that a lot of people love. Like I really loved the original Red Faction. I played the crap out of that because, a lot of people were comparing it to Halo at the time, and I was like, well, I don't have an Xbox, so I'll play Red Faction, and I loved it. I loved Red Faction 1. And Guerrilla was just kind of like they had that patented engine, the destruction engine, for that. And now we see all kinds of things like, we see what Crackdown 3 is maybe going to do for Xbox One with the cloud computing stuff. But I honestly think Red Faction, with the destructibility and like the way these systems are built, and with Neo and Scorpio on the horizon, like I feel like a destructible environment type game like Red Faction would benefit greatly from what these consoles can do.
They'll probably have to do a survey to see how people will care for a Red Faction game.
I would totally buy a new Red Faction. I didn't really mind Armageddon all that much. I mean, it wasn't as good as... It was not a very good game, but I didn't mind it.
Okay.
That was just me.
I think if they break it, as long as THQ Nordic is still alive and kicking, I would probably say maybe about 2019 they might bring a Red Faction game. They might announce it. I don't think they'll bring it right away. Unless the PSVR is still available and they decide to do that as a VR game,
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they own a lot of IP that we all kind of forget about, and I wonder like how they would do Darksiders 3 or Red Faction or Saints Row moving forward from now. Because
that's what I mean. Interesting to know what the sales numbers are on the HD.
Yeah. And like they even released Gat Out of Hell for free for PS Plus. I didn't play it, but
yeah. So
it's gonna be interesting.
We want more more publishers, more gaming. More games, right?
And like I feel like they could fit in that, like we have indies now and we have the big AAAs. Like we're missing that middle space.
The B tiers.
Yeah, we're totally missing the B tier games, and like the only people making B tier type games right now is like, I mean, I don't want to call games that Nintendo makes B tier, but like like Pikmin is kind of like a B tier Nintendo franchise, or like Star Fox is kind of a B tier Nintendo franchise. So like
that's like a D tier.
Ooh, ouch. But we're kind of missing it. Like I don't know. I'm looking at my PlayStation games list right now, and I have a ton of games on here. I have Destiny, Bloodborne, Overwatch, Uncharted, and then next to that is Hyper Light Drifter, Transistor, Axiom Verge, and Tricky Towers. I mean, like, we're missing the single A space games, and the only game I have on here that would really fit into that would be the Technomancer, which is kind of like, I don't know if anybody's been listening to the DNA podcast that me and Brian do, but the Technomancer is kind of fits that kind of B tier type game. It's like a B tier Mass Effect type game, and it's
right.
really interesting and cool to see. Like Spider's kind of a small team. I think their team's only about 35 people, but they made this game that's super vast and really kind of reminds me more of like a Knights of the Old Republic type game style, where like the world isn't really an open world, but it kind of is, where it kind of just loads you into the next area, but you can backtrack and all this kind of stuff. It's a really cool game, and I think THQ Nordic could really push some games out in there, and like they could be the company that experiments with the price tier. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna put out this Red Faction game. It's $40. Oh, we're gonna do Darksiders 3. It's $50. We're gonna make this small Saints Row type expansion, or even Agents of Mayhem, which they're doing, could be like a $30 game with some microtransactions similar to what Overwatch does. They could be the company in that space that experiments with. Everybody's saying, oh, well, why aren't digital games cheaper? Well, this could be the company that experiments with that. And
I think a $40 price point, which just do I would say maybe $45. A $45 budget title from them would do wonders, because it just be like, well, we don't want to pay $60, but I'll pay $45 plus tax for this game if it gives me enough good enjoyment.
Yeah, and
You
even
know.
like they could even do something like a lot of these companies. If you pre-order Dishonored 2, you get Dishonored the Definitive Edition for free. If you pre-order South Park: The Fractured Butthole, you get the Stick of Truth for free. They could do that with Darksiders. Okay, here's Darksiders 3 for $50, but if you pre-order it, you get Darksiders 1 and 2 for free. Like they could bundle these games. I don't know. There's just so many different things I feel like a company like this could experiment with that people would start to notice and say, oh, why aren't these other companies doing it? And I feel like, quietly they could make a name for themselves doing things like this. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Or even experiment with, like, if they took the Darksiders franchise and they wanted to make that 4-player multiplayer game, what if they put out $29.99 version of a 4-player Diablo-style Darksiders?
I'll be cool with that.
I mean, that some ex-Blizzard guys did it with what was that Xbox Live Arcade game? Torchlight. They did Torchlight 1 and 2, and like they were $20, and a lot of people, when Diablo 3 came out, they were like, let's just go play Torchlight because it's better now. I mean, obviously Diablo 3 is way better now because they did so many things to change the way people perceive that game and changed a lot of the systems and stuff to make that game likable again. But like, when that came out, Torchlight 2 had just come out, and people were buying Torchlight 2 instead of Diablo because it was made by the Diablo 2 team. So, I don't know. It's just, the wheels are spinning in my head. I'm like, why don't I work there?
It's good that they're back, and if they like we said, if they supply that B tier thing, it's gonna make them some money. It's gonna make them successful. To me personally, it's gonna build my library, because it's gonna be like, you know what? I don't feel like picking up a AAA game, but this goofy game that THQ Nordic brought out, it might not be getting the good reviews, but it's cheap. And it might actually just be enjoyable just to play. It might just be a dumb fun game.
Yeah.
And usually with some of the dumb fun games, if the word gets out, it's gonna catch on. People are gonna end up buying it.
Yeah, and like that's where a game like the Technomancer fits. Is like, okay, it's sitting at like a 63 on Metacritic. It's not a very good game. The controls are janky, but the story is interesting enough to keep me going, and like the customization in that game, moveset wise, is unbelievable, and like the ambition of this 35 man team is just, you want to support this team because their ideas are really ambitious and the ideas are so cool. It's just that they probably ran out of budget, and because like there's some textures in this game that look gorgeous and look like they should be on PlayStation 5. Like, some of these textures are amazing, but then you get into this next area where it looks like they pulled assets from Duke Nukem Forever and just like touched them up a little bit. It's just terrible. But like, I just feel like there's games that fit that, and
that
THQ.
It's that odd quality that you kind of enjoy. 'Cause you can sometimes laugh at it, but if you're having fun with it and it's making you be like, let me see what other crazy messes in this game, you're kind of getting your money worth of a game.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how this company evolves over the next, I would give them like 12 to 18 months to see, like, maybe they'll show something at E3, maybe they have something planned for PSX or something. I think Nordic Games is a European company. Maybe they'll show something at Gamescom. But this is an interesting announcement to make right before Gamescom, so maybe we'll see something there. So
I'm down for it. I'm glad that they're back.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. One more thing I saw that I'm surprised nobody is talking about, unless I just didn't do enough research to like debunk this thing. I was scrolling down through the one of the Facebook groups I'm in, the Kind of Funny Facebook group, and there was a link to a Reddit post where it was a patent and some illustrations and some specs for a third-generation Vita. And it had two shoulder buttons on each side. It had HDMI out. It had some other interesting features. I just want to know what you guys would think if Sony would risk enough R&D and enough money to put out a proper remote play device in a Vita, because they're selling the Vita now as a player PlayStation 4 on the couch. But anybody who owns a Vita knows that if you want to play Destiny on the toilet, Vita is a really, really hard way to do it. And I feel like
that's just
even with a $100 price tag, I think it's just why bother? Nintendo owns that handheld space.
Yeah.
I think even $149 would be almost a sweet spot for that too, because they're still
even though there's still stuff coming out for the Vita, and the people it's got a niche following and group and people that still own them. But if you're going to the masses,
I think it's just a pattern that they just follow. Because why would you buy a Vita and PSVR is about to come out? Like, I think Sony is placing big bets on their VR, and the way that the Vita has been treated and sold, I don't think it's viable to bring out a 3.0. Because every time they even did it with the PSP, bringing out a new version, no one brought them. Like, they were kind of standing on shelves.
There's no AAA game coming out either, right?
Everybody bought PSP after they figured out they could just make it an emulator device.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's why I owned a PSP. I wanted to play Nintendo games on the go.
And that's pretty much it. That's weird. I'm like, really? You bought a PSP just to play Nintendo games?
DNA does not support piracy in any way. It was just... Okay.
You were testing.
Yeah, I was trying to see if what everybody was saying was true. I was doing it for science.
But, yeah, I think it's just... I've seen nothing on... I was kind of looking on the internet, too. I didn't see much on it. I think it's all BS.
Yeah.
It's someone just...
they were trolling me.
Trolling, yeah.
Jerks.
Just because they haven't... Even on their press conferences, they haven't even brought up Vita at all, and they haven't come out with a AAA game in so long, but the life of third-party and indie has kept the life cycle of that system going.
Well, shoot, indie really has been... It's more indie than third-party or even Sony.
But I mean, like,
you still your Personas are coming out on Vita.
Games like Axiom Verge and Guacamelee are like perfect games.
Guacamelee is so good.
Guacamelee is so good. I own that game on 4 different platforms.
Sad is that.
Well, yeah, they understand. Well, Guacamelee, they understood the Metroid formula and just got it right. I mean, it's like it deserves to have be on every console. And if you do not own that game, go to your favorite console, whatever, and buy it.
Yeah, Guacamelee.
Don't pirate that game, buy it.
You need to buy it. There's 3 indie games you need to buy this generation, and I don't care how you get it. Purchase it on your platform of choice. I don't care what platform it is. Guacamelee, Shovel Knight, and Axiom Verge. Yes, Axiom Verge is coming to Wii U and Xbox One this fall. Buy it. Just saying. Okay, continue.
Axiom Verge is debatable, but
no, Axiom Verge is great.
It's debatable.
If you have the love for the original Metroid, or even Super Metroid, like that game is just. It's a wonder. It's such a wonder that one person made that entire game.
Music, everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that I agree. I think Guacamelee holds better than Axiom Verge.
Yeah, it's a
different styles of like Guacamelee, like a different style of game.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Shovel Knight and Guacamelee are better games than Axiom Verge, but Axiom Verge has such a unique style to it and such a there's some issues for sure. I think they could have done a little bit better with like the weapon wheel type stuff. I think that could have been changed. But like overall, that game, I think that game deserves to be played just in terms of being a Metroid fan. Like that game deserves to be played.
You might want to add Rocket League in case of people get upset.
Yeah, I mean, I never really got into Rocket League. I can't, like, I tried so many times, and like, I understand that
following.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't get it either.
Huge.
I didn't get it either. I thought it was just.
Well, I got it when it was free on PlayStation Plus, so like I have it, but.
Well, in case of people got mad and stuff, be like, well, what about Rocket League? That's a good. Okay, that's a.
Well, in that case, if you're talking about Rocket League. If you're talking about Rocket League, then people need to buy Journey, people need to buy N++, people need to buy Resogun.
I don't.
Resogun. I like Resogun.
People need to buy Super Meat Boy. People need to buy Super Stardust.
I would say Journey. You don't need. I don't think you need Journey.
For me, Journey's an experience that you need to experience once, and that's kind of it. I don't think it's like.
That's the problem with it. That's the problem with Journey. It's just, I still think that game should have came out at $7 when it came out. I don't think $15.
It was only $15.
I don't think it's justifiable enough. And I understand, money versus length and the work that went into it with the art and with the music. But I'm just like, it's not about that. That $15 doesn't justify the replay value of that game, to me personally. So,
I'm just saying, like, in terms of like a playing a game on the Vita, and like if you have a Vita, those are some of the games that are must.
For Vita, yeah. For Vita alone, yeah.
I wish Hyper Light Drifter was for Vita.
Oh, I really want that to come on to Wii U. I still need to buy that game.
Hyper Light Drifter. I've been playing that a lot lately, actually.
What's that other game that something? Oh, Rampage?
Rampage?
Oh, something City Rampage. Something.
Retro City Rampage.
Yes. Oh no, but there's another game. There's a sequel.
Miami.
Hotline Miami. That's a good game.
Yeah. I haven't played that one yet. Hotline Miami.
Yeah, I have it. I haven't played it yet. But everybody said that Vita's the best place to play that game. There's another game that I would highly recommend. It's not for Vita, but it's great as a remote play game. It was also only made by one person, called Dust: An Elysian Tale.
I need to play that.
It's like a mix between like Ori and the Blind Forest and like. It's kind of like.
It reminds me of Muramasa, the Demon Blade, and Sphere.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yes.
And those.
It's a mix between those and the game I just said. What did I just say? Shoot. Sorry, I got really excited.
Dust? You mean Dust you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really good. So.
That game is, that one I need to buy. Every time I see it, the art, the animation in that game is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just like the voice acting is kind of like weird and cutesy and kind of like old time cartoony voice acting, but the rest of it's like really charming, and the animation's so fluid for one guy to be doing this, and it's so good. So. Before we get into the drop, I kind of stumbled upon something that I think might be worth talking about, since No Man's Sky is kind of relevant right now.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys see that thing? No Man's Sky may get a possible Xbox release.
No.
It says, Hello Games Sean Murray didn't rule out an Xbox launch, saying he, quote, wasn't sure what I am actually allowed to say about that. The game has launched for PlayStation and PC.
First, before you even think about another console releasing it, just get the game together on PC, on PS4 and PC,
Yeah, you gotta fix that
because
PR, right? Yeah.
people were still finding bugs on the PS4 version. So there's a patch. The day one patch really didn't fix all the bugs to it. So I'm just like, get those two games together before you port it to Xbox One. So
it was just interesting. I was
Well,
like,
it could be time
just-
exclusive. Like these companies have done that between them, but
yeah, it just No Man's Sky was trending, and it said action adventure games creator hints at possible Xbox launch, and I clicked on it, and I kind of wanted to see. That was kind of interesting, even though this is a PlayStation podcast. It's interesting that something that Sony is kind of pushing as their major fall release, and almost
why not? Because it's
what
if it's like a 8 months down the road? Why not? I mean,
yeah,
it's like Tomb Raider in a way, right?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but do you really want to have the game on Xbox One? Like, my thing
I
is
think
this:
you're an
if you haven't
independent
fixed,
developer, you want to have the game everywhere you possibly can.
well,
Except
yeah,
Wii U,
but if you
apparently.
don't got your, I mean, if you don't got your stuff together on the other console and other platforms, don't release it on another platform. Get that all together. Like, even with the PC, it's just like, how the heck you put a 25% weekend sale for the PC version of No Man's Sky, and that's not even booting up right. And then
Yeah.
you don't want to really speak about it going to the Xbox One. No. If Xbox One do get it, it's gonna be delayed until almost, I would say, maybe around the same time next year that it's coming out to Xbox One.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. So
And if it comes to Xbox One, does it get the full DLC that they plan to release for the game? If there's gonna be some, like, does that become the definitive version then?
here's the thing. The way they're talking about DLC is not what you're typically thinking of DLC. It's more like things like Minecraft added, like recipes and like they're adding base building next month. I don't think they would withhold something like base building from another version of the game just to keep it popular on one platform. That would be kind of ridiculous. Like, I understand, like, Destiny has exclusive content on PS4 compared to Xbox One, but it's only exclusive for a year. But that stuff doesn't really affect the game as much as, like, completely leaving out a feature. Yeah, it changes the gameplay in Destiny in terms of, oh, I can't get that gun on Xbox, but it's not like removing shooting altogether from the Xbox version of the game.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. I think something like base building or there's something else they were adding to. I forget, but like leaving out key features from the game would just be that the internet would eat Hello Games alive if they did that.
Oh shoot! If they're not eating them now, they will soon.
Oh jeez. But anyways, let's get into the drop.
Drop.
Adam,
what's coming out this week?
Well, it'll be the most common one, which we talked about already, which is No Man's Sky. On your PlayStation 4 and your PC that released on Friday. Seems to be getting better reviews from your critics or reviewers than it is, I guess, user score. User score is kind of like averaging between 5, 6, where your Metacritic, I think, is high, like 70s. Which you talked about. So to me, it's a game where you like it or you don't, and we'll see what happens. Another game that came out this week, which I think is unique, a game called Brutal, which I believe was for the PS4 and PC. It's an old-style dungeon crawler, but in a template of, like, your character's design is just etched around your characters. That's the rest of your body is just pure black.
Wasn't that also a fighting game for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo? Brutal.
Well, it's a dungeon style crawler like your Diablo or well, not Diablo, like older, like Baldur's Gate. Maybe not. That's more zoomed in.
I feel like the way it looks, it looks
was a
more
fighting
like
game with the animals.
it looks more like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, like it's getting above average scores, and I think it's worth checking out. I don't know if I'll play it, but I like the style, and I think I might put that on the radar. So that was something new this week on the PS4. I don't know if it came out this. Well, I think it did come out this week. Or I think I remember seeing the trailer, but you did have the Transformers: Fall of Cybertron.
Yeah, I really want to buy that game, but the way Activision's ports have been the last with Prototype and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I don't know if I want to even try to download that game.
Yeah.
And which sucks because I bought it I have it for PS3 and 360 because I love that game so much. That game those Cybertron games, the first two at least, were awesome. Those games were awesome. And I really, really want to download it for PS4, but I'm so scared that it's just gonna suck. And I haven't seen any reviews or anything about it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen much on it either.
Except that it was out.
What else dropped this week? I think Oli Oli. If you remember back on the Vitas, got an Epic Combo Edition. I think it was just digital only. Came out for the PS4 this week. You also had an Arcade Archive Soldier Girl launched.
That looks like a really bad ripoff of Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh.
Yeah. And then Indigo Prophecy, which looks like I probably wouldn't give that any money. So that was for PS3. It didn't have anything, but I'll take a look here. Because I know they have the game I'm waiting for. Trial by date. There we go. The Legend of Heroes is coming out so soon. I can't wait. Yeah, nothing dropped this week. Because last week was the Telltale games. And I believe Vita. I don't know if Vita had anything this week.
By the way, Ollie Ollie is free on 3DS. I just downloaded it the other day. That game is fun. I mean, if you don't have a 3DS, that game is really cool. I would actually give that a shot.
Ali access free.
Yeah, nothing on the Vita this week. So it was pretty quiet week for releases, I guess. I mean, it is summer and it's coming to the end of summer. So as soon as September hits, then we get some decent games.
The fall and holiday games are coming.
That's when the exciting games are coming. So it's almost over the drought, but still some decent games have come out this summer. I think usually it's quiet, but not much this week for the drop.
Yeah, I mean it's the end of August, so we're gonna start getting big games. I mean, No Man's Sky kind of launched it, but Madden's coming out. That's usually when a lot of people consider it's kicking off, and Deus Ex comes out soon.
Isn't Forza Horizon 3 coming out in a couple of weeks?
This is a PlayStation podcast.
I know that, but they're doing previews and stuff for it, so I think that's coming out. Oh.
Yeah, that's coming out. God of Year 2 is coming out. Resident Evil 4 is coming out. The Witcher 3 is getting that Game of the Year edition, which I might actually pick up because I didn't get the DLC. So let's see what else is coming out soon. That's it. But September, things are going to start rolling out. Especially on the Xbox side, you're getting a lot. And then October, September you're getting XCOM 2, and then October you're getting Tomb Raider and The Last Guardian. There's a lot to look forward to. So can't wait. My wallet is crying, but I don't care.
You work enough hours so your wallet won't be crying.
I got a wedding to pay for though.
Oh. No, it'll cry for that, but it won't cry for games.
Oh man, but
why should you get a whole bunch of GameStop gift cards?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. I'd just be like, I'll trade you these GameStop gift cards for some PlayStation Network gift cards. Oh my gosh, going digital was the best thing I've ever done in my life. I feel so amazing.
I support you in your decision, I just
Don't worry, my Nintendo physical copies are safe.
It depends on if you, I guess, if you really enjoyed the game, you want to.
I
If you
just
ever
want
want
to
to trade
go.
that game in, you're
Well,
SOL.
like I had the physical copy of Horizon pre-ordered because I want that statue of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I really want the Gears of War special collector's edition that's $250, but I waited on the Halo 5 collector's edition, and the collector's edition of Halo 5 is $64 on Amazon right now.
I just don't find that you gain anything from digital.
You don't gain anything?
Yeah, what do you gain?
Convenience.
Okay. What do you mean convenience? So if you're not going to play the game at midnight launch, because that's the convenience that you get with it being a PlayStation Plus or whatever, and buying the game. But if you're going to play the game after work on the day it's released, what's the difference between you? Yes, picking up the game at the game store. That's really the inconvenience I see. But you also have a physical copy you could sell when you're done with the game versus a digital. You're tied.
I know.
That's to me. I just don't understand.
I mean, I understand.
They drop the price by $10 or some incentive to go digital. Then I'd probably say, okay, that's an incentive to try to get that direction. But when it's the same price,
I think for Xbox, digital makes sense. For PS4, it doesn't.
But to me, like if you're always trading stuff in, like if you're a constant, you're not a collector. You're a guy that just plays a game and moves on. That's a terrible idea to buy digital.
I mean, I think even with Nintendo, with the My Nintendo Club, like going digital, there's benefits to it. With Xbox, you get kind of like two games for two games available for two platforms for one, like just for one purchase. Going digital. PlayStation 4, I just think that there's no benefit of going it because they, once again, I keep arguing this, that hard drive thing, doing all of that until they get external or they do something with their cloud. It's not, to me personally, it's not worth it to go digital on PlayStation 4.
I just think, to me, it's just money. Like you return on your value. Where like other companies like Steam PC, you can share your games with your 5 friends or whatever. But Xbox wanted to do that when they came out with their first Xbox One announcement. They had that family sharing program or whatever.
Yeah, on the one system, yeah.
Right. As soon as their whole thing went to hell and PlayStation blew them out of the water at E3, they took that all away, which is unfortunate. But to me, like, if they did that, then I would be more on board with digital. But the cross-buy, love that with the Vita and everything else. But I don't. To me, like, if you wanted to, especially if you spent $60, $70 in a game and you didn't like it, like that sucks.
Well,
especially because
Watch
Dogs, like I bought the physical, like I returned that game within 2 days. Like I was done. I was like, this is terrible. And that's the reason why I won't buy AAA games that come out on physical copies. I only buy my indie games that don't have physical releases on digital because I want my money.
I know for me personally, when I'm buying physical, it's to help my library, and I definitely with me podcasting and want to do research and want to do features and stuff and pinpoint things that people normally don't talk about, I need that physical copy that I could go to. Yes, it could be the same thing for digital, but physical, it's easier for me to pop in, load up. I don't have to erase space or anything. I don't have to wait 3 hours for it to download and stuff like that. I could just pop it in, let it update if it needs to, and start playing and go to what I need to go to. And just enjoy it. Where digital, it's just like it takes forever to download now in this age, definitely it takes forever to download a game. It takes up maybe 1/10 of your hard drive that they're giving you without an external. Like, no, that's to me personally, that's too much hassle.
Not all games are like that. Like you just pop in and play on. I know, like a game like Elder Scrolls, you can't do that. You know you have it on the disc and the game's been out for a while. If you purchase it right now, it's a 30 gig download off the hop. So you're not playing that game right when you buy it anyways.
Right. Now, I'm not knocking any.
The same way, right?
Now, I'm not knocking to anybody who buy digital, and I'm not knocking people who still stick to physical and trade it in, because your physical games that you trade in, that helps my library. It's cheaper.
Exactly. That's why I buy a lot of my games used. Like, except for when because I do buy a lot at GameStop. It's like when I see a new game and a pre-used game, and there's a $5 difference, I'm still buying new on that $5.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That always happens on re-release on new games, but to me, like when the game comes out, and I find games drop in price quicker now than they used to. But if it's like half the value after 2 months, yeah, to me, why not? At that point, it's still
Right.
GameStop that makes the money. It's not the developer. Versus, I guess, if you bought digital, that will go back to the developer. But at the end of the day, I'm still getting a value for a product. But I don't think it's a bad choice. I still buy digital, but only for my indie games. I can't buy it for AAA releases, even though I'm a collector. But yeah, no, I think it's not a bad choice. It's not saying it's not a bad choice to me. It's just there's no way of getting rid of a bad game until I mean like. If they gave the option of digital of saying, hey, your buddy wanted that game, and he paid you, and you could transfer the game that way, there's some kind of option to give you a way out of not owning that game anymore.
Yeah, like if you just like traded in a license for like credit or something for the store.
Yeah, it's the store.
That would be cool. I would dig that.
I wish I could return my copy of Final Fantasy VII.
Well, right off the store.
Yeah.
Bought it on Vita or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like I hadn't played Final Fantasy VII in like I don't know since PS2 launched. Like that was the last time I played Final Fantasy VII. I didn't like it.
Come on,
And then they announced the remake, and like I wanted to give it another shot. And this is the one that everybody said to play, like because it's been updated, it's got trophies, it's been graphically enhanced a little bit. It's basically the PC version. So I bought it.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I'm like, you didn't buy it on PS3? Huh? Wait, what?
No, I have it on PS4. And like
yeah.
I played it for like 3 hours. I played it. I'm like, this is still the same stupid game. This game sucks. So I don't know. Sorry, that was my Final Fantasy VII rant.
I think it's nostalgia for when you played it.
Yeah, and like I have no nostalgia. I have no nostalgia, but the thing is, like, the thing between like people always say it's nostalgia. Well, a lot of people are nostalgic for Ocarina of Time for N64, but that game still holds up. Final Fantasy VII doesn't really hold up, or neither does like Metal Gear Solid, or like when people are saying like nostalgia plays into games, like there's games that nostalgia plays into, but there's also like the gameplay factor that makes the game stand out, which is why I still think Final Fantasy 4 and 6 are way superior games.
Well, they were the difference between. I think the difference between the game is at the time that game came out. That's nothing touched it. Nothing had cutscenes like that in. Played like that. That's to me. That's why it was nostalgia. As at the time it came out, and there's nothing else like it. So even though it's dated, it's hard to play with the graphics that it is. To me, it's just when it was released, there was nothing like it.
And I think
if you're a big fan of the series, all my buddies had it, and every day we were constantly talking about it. Now it's hard to go back and re-talk about it, but.
I think Final Fantasy kind of reignited the RPG and really opened more people to playing RPGs. Because don't forget, like, even on the Super Nintendo, RPGs was very niche. It wasn't a big genre to a lot of people. When Final Fantasy VII came out, a lot of people who didn't play RPGs got into it, and that's why you see like more RPGs, JRPGs for the PlayStation were coming over here to America because of Final Fantasy VII. So it's a very historic game that did a lot for the genre.
Yeah.
It didn't age well, trust me. Like Ocarina of Time. Like Ocarina of Time aged, but people still go back and enjoy that game compared to Final Fantasy VII. People don't feel like dealing with the controls with that camera angle.
It's hard to compare those games too because if you want to talk Zelda or talk Nintendo, it's always the cartoony kind of route. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
So that's why their games hold up well. Certain styles of their games hold up well because of that cartoon style that they follow.
Yeah. And Ocarina of Time introduced some games like Z-targeting, the jumping. Like it kind of has its own history, almost just like Final Fantasy VII having its own history. Like they both do something different, but they're historic games that really did a lot for the genre.
We're talking about Wind Waker? That's the
GameCube one.
GameCube one. Like to me, that game is revolutionary on the system it came out on how they made that game on that hardware. I think that's revolutionary. Like whether it holds up or not, that's almost a factor. Like depending on your patience with playing certain games. Like if we go way back in a few episodes, like when I talked about games like how big Persona is right now, but you go back and play 1 and 2 on the original PlayStation. None of my friends hated those games. I was the only one that was into these games, and they were a lot slower combat, and they are hard to play. I will agree with that. But there was just something I got past that it hit something with me. But now they're mainstream. Now it's just like people are into it, and the artistic style is different, and it's got more of a following.
I think it was just a harder thing to learn because I don't think Persona 1 taught you well on how to play the game compared to Persona 3 was easier to get into. Don't get me wrong, I love Persona. Like I think I should go back to play Persona 1 and play both games of Persona 2. Like to me personally,
it might be hard.
Yeah, you know what? I played Persona 1 on the PS1.
Right.
But I didn't get far because I think you started in the hospital. I think that's the first part of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't get past that because I didn't learn it. I didn't take time to learn it, but I think I should take some time to learn it because, like you said, Adam, it became big, and I started loving the Persona series because of 3 playing fast. Like I spent a month and a half every day after work playing hours upon hours on that game, and I was just like, this is the Persona I love. And I feel like I owe it to Atlas to play Persona 1 and both games for Persona 2, and really learn them games and just really learn it.
Yeah, I'm trying to track down a copy of Alundra right now. I'm looking on eBay and trying to get a decent deal on it.
You're trying to get the physical instead of the digital?
Alundra, yeah, I'm trying to collect. There's a lot of copies out there, but I want the full copy with the map, and not many people have the map. But the sequel is cheap. The first one is not. So
I haven't played the sequel, Alundra 2.
But yeah, I mean, that's a whole conversation about games holding up for sure. But yeah, I think I think it's just. I think it's when the game came out and how it hit home. And I think the way how we talked about this. There's Final Fantasy VII that's coming out with its episodic. As soon as it said episodic to me, that was a complete 180 for me. It's like I don't want to play a game like that. I want to play a full experience from start to finish.
Because I think me and you said the same thing, Adam, when we was chatting about Final Fantasy VII. It's just like it's just definitely for me. I'm just like, just play the original. Don't wait for no remake. Because it doesn't make sense. Like you can't put Final Fantasy VII as an episode.
I mean, you look at all the things they're like. The way the internet is now and how like everybody is so offended by so many different things. How many different things are they going to have to change in that game? Like you look like you look at the cross-dressing scene in that game, or like the date scene where it's basically implied that if you do the whole scene right, that Cloud sleeps with that guy as the crossdresser to get what they need to proceed through the game. Like, how many things in that game are they gonna have to change like that?
I don't know. Maybe they won't, but I don't know. It could change my mind, but I was expecting just give me the same game but HD remake, and I would have been happy with just that.
I mean, if they would have just given it just a graphical overhaul, like I don't think what they're doing with 7 is what people want. I think they want Final Fantasy 7 but upgraded to today's graphics, and that's it.
Because how do you put a 3-game disc in the episodes? Like, I feel like there's just so much that's going to get taken out. And even if they change it, I'm just like, this doesn't feel the same.
Well, it's with the episodic too. Like if you remember, like Final Fantasy is well known for your optional bosses near the end of the game, your ultimate weapon, all that stuff like that. How do you do that episodic? Like you're just gonna say you get to the end of the tail and go, now do you can fight these bosses? That stuff hasn't been announced, or they just gonna stick to the main story of the episodic. We don't know, but.
And how many cutscenes that they're gonna have in the game in the episodic versus you actually playing the game? Because at some point in Final Fantasy VII, there's some long cutscenes, and you just be like,
spoiler alert when Eris or.
Not even that is long. It's
what's that? Well, I'm talking about near the end when Sephiroth's in the machine too. Like that's Clouds. Yeah, let's see, but we'll see.
This episode is brought to you by the DNA store on Redbubble. Want some DNA gear? Want to show off your favorite DNA shows? Whether you want to show Matt that you're also glad he's here, or show your allegiance to the Guardians of DNA Fireteam, or even just have a fascination with Toast building a snowman, we have the merch for you. Wear our inside jokes with pride and show off your favorite DNA shows. There's something here for everyone on the DNA store. Check us out at redbubble.com/people/DNA network today.
I'm excited for what's coming up in a couple of weeks. September 7th. Big day. PlayStation put up conference happening.
Yeah, topic of the show. Topic of the show. PlayStation has it hasn't officially been announced. They announced that they are having a conference on September 7th, and it's pretty much all but confirmed that it's the PlayStation Neo reveal event. Yeah. And so it's happening. It's happening. There's a lot of things about this console though that I have questions about. Like they say, a lot of rumors are saying that it's the Neo announcement and that final dev kits are going out that day to developers, which means how are people going to put... Because at first this thing was rumored to come out this year, and now I don't think it's coming out this year, first of all.
I don't think it was slated to come this year. I think it was
Well, around E3 they were rumored to...
Yeah, I think it's because they wanted... I think the big deal is PlayStation or Sony wants this thing out sooner than later because of the VR. Because the VR will run way smoother on Neo versus its current hardware that's out right now. I think it's as soon as they can get it out. I don't know, bad reviews or something. I don't know how it runs how until the reviews come up for VR, which we're not too far away. Or what games are coming for VR, because they slated 50 games by the end of the year.
Yeah, they said 50 games.
But VR hasn't convinced me out of enjoyable games yet. Like I've seen the HTC release, I've seen the Oculus release, where you see YouTube channels, and I can't remember the name of these companies. The people they follow, where they pretty much buy every single game on release and they play them all. in a stream, and I've watched them, and out of these two other releases in the same space, it might be a couple games are worth playing. The rest wouldn't even spend money on. But
is it like Technology USA or something like that?
yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think it's a guy with a beard. He's a bigger guy, you know. He's all I think he talks about a lot of tech stuff, yeah, and they showcase and they wire him up and they film both sides view, and it's a really good way to see VR versus because even like people I follow on Woods on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, and they went to E3 and they got to try out the experience. Even the PlayStation one, they still walked away from it going, meh. So to me, it's like it's gonna be one of those things that's gonna come out, and if it's gonna take off, it's gonna take 6 months for it to have its key games that are gonna suck people in. I don't know what the release date is on that. Maybe the Star Wars will be sucker people in, but I don't know. But for the Neo itself, it's. I think that's how I talked about with you guys offline too, where it's a game. It's a system where you take your life cycle of your PlayStation 3s, your PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1s, or even your Vitas. There's a little bit of a chain in the hardware. There's a chain going along. This is the first time around, even Microsoft's doing it too, where we're jumping up in considerable hardware specs and we're changing it. We don't have the announcement of what Scorpio will be, but this is the first time where we're going to have a game that will run way better on this system versus the first generation of what you owned in that platform. And that's pretty much what Excite means, but it could set and change things. So my thing is, what's going to happen? Are they going to stop selling the first generation quickly and try to force people to go to Neo? I don't know.
Not yet.
I kind of feel like PlayStation's going about Neo differently than what Xbox is doing with Scorpio. Xbox is marketing Scorpio as, look, we're going to give you 4K gaming, we're going to give you a VR at home experience. This box is built for that. I feel like the Neo
is 4K, right?
What?
Neo is 4K.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not marketing it as this VR ready box, because PlayStation VR comes with its extra processing box already. This is just a upgraded box, hopefully that developers can get behind, even though they say every game will be feature complete across the original PS4 and this. But I feel like they're marketing more this is like, look, this is a more powerful piece of hardware. You're going to have more hard drive space. You're going to get your 4K gaming. You're going to get a steadier frame rate, which I'm all for, because I was playing Bloodborne the other day, and that game drops below 20 frames a second sometimes, and it is rough to play. And if I can play that as a smooth 30 frames a second,
that's the winning features for me. I couldn't give a crap about hard drive space, but if my game runs better, and I'm having a better experience because I'm not having. Actually, you saw this.
But
my first part. Sorry, I'm just gonna finish my part here. In the Tales, I think it was part 7. During one of my end of boss battles, I stuttered there for a little bit. It was the first time. That's the only time it's only happened in the entire game. But yeah, to me, this is where your games are gonna get better versus your PS3 life cycle, where I was just you didn't really have that, or this is the first time we were jumping hardware up.
I don't think they should, or they probably will talk something about Neo. I don't think they should do it, because of PSVR. I know they got their other PlayStation conference coming soon. Because my thing is, with this conference on the 7th, they got to start talking about those 50 games. I think their focus is on PlayStation VR, and their focus is not on Neo. We're focusing it on Neo, but I don't think Sony is. I think if Sony does anything with Neo, it won't be until next year that they start really talking about it.
Well, we're assuming it's Neo, right? We're assuming it's Neo at September 7th.
Right.
Yeah,
it could be an announcement of VR going on.
What if they open with VR and then end with announcing Neo?
then
Right.
that I could understand. That's probably fine. But I'm just like, you got to start talking about these 50 games because you promised us 50 games at the end of the year
They have
2016
they
for
have
this.
kind of talked
Yeah,
about some of them, but like Arkham VR,
we
Final
haven't
Fantasy
even.
VR.
But what we probably got about what maybe 8 to 9 games that's probably been announced for it. Where's the other 40 to 41 games? And are they the ones that's already out on Oculus Rift and HTC Vive? Like, are we getting those games? And that's making up the 50. Like, yeah, you guys
Okay.
have got. Because my thing is, if they're going to do this conference on the 7th, it has to be about those 50 games. Each game has to get announced. There needs to be
Right.
announced. There needs to be a release date, and that needs to just be your conference. If
Here-
you decided, my thing was, don't bring Neo to the 7th conference. Bring it to your PlayStation Experience, because that's what everybody's going to be watching. You would make a big splash at your PlayStation Experience conference talking about Neo than you would do at this conference on the 7th. Like,
Here-
that would be smart.
Here are
But
the
it also takes away from Microsoft's current I call them subsystems, because I think it's a terrible idea for them releasing them, but I think they're doing it because they want to market their brand because they're losing so bad in the console race right now, but because their Scorpio system is way out down the
Right.
road. So the reason why I think they're putting up these slim systems is to get people more talking about their system, or else they're not getting the sales on system sales.
I mean, they won it for August for the NPD. They beat PlayStation 4 with the Slim, so that's
yeah,
hopefully
so in other words,
that's
that's why I think that's what I said. Like it worked.
yeah.
But when you're losing pretty bad at this point, why not? But then again, you lose by 1 month by who knows how many, and come September, who's going to be talking about the Slims when if you got Sony's new announcements coming, you got Nintendo's new announcements coming. It was almost that they had to go sooner than later with these Slims, right? So
Right, yeah.
right.
so yeah,
I
I think it was good for them to market it that way. I think they look better than the huge brick than what they were. But yeah, I don't know. I just we got to see how they're going to market it this holiday season. But you got to remember, I don't think Sony cares about that. If you remember, it was first year release, they didn't have anything. They didn't have a AAA game coming out in release for a while after
Well,
release.
at
Well,
the
they-
PlayStation 4.
Yes.
I mean, they had
Oh.
Killzone and Knack at launch, but after that,
Yeah.
they didn't have anything until what? Bloodborne?
And this is the conversation
No,
that even the guys at
Infamous Second
IGN,
Son.
yeah,
Infamous,
the guys at IGN talked about, Colin and Greg before they left to do their own thing. How was the system outselling? Like it was outselling Xbox by far, when all the games that were coming out were mostly just indies, and when you had Xbox that had these AAA games coming out, it was getting beat by indie games.
Because of all the mess that Microsoft said at E3.
It's
That's the only
because of
reason why PlayStation 4.
Xbox's really bad delivery and about all their only online and TV features and having Kinect in the box. That was what shot Microsoft in the foot.
So,
now Sony does
right.
have a bigger foothold in a lot of the world outside. I mean, Xbox has a bigger foothold here, but PlayStation has a bigger foothold outside of the United States. You know, Europe is a huge
Europe.
PlayStation.
Xbox doesn't have a foothold in like China, Japan. Like they don't sell, right? Like,
He
and
said
that's what that hurts them too, right? Because they don't sell their systems in certain.
Right. The only place that Xbox really sells well is in North America.
right.
So. And when you're being beat in North America, but you gotta have competition. And I mean, you want both to compete, but their messaging has been, and I think Phil Spencer is doing a good job, but still, you still don't know what their messaging is now going forward with these new systems and
you also got to think about
Windows 10, right? They're pushing a lot of the games to Windows 10, so it's just like So you trying to get out of the hardware business, or you want to stay in?
Yeah, I mean that's something that we could talk about on Connected someday. Is how Microsoft kind of
you got to think about.
It.
You got to think about PlayStation 4. That even when they had triple games, guess what was being out? Their Killzone. Everybody was playing Resogun, and that was an indie game when PlayStation 4 came out.
Yeah, but Resogun was free.
Yeah, Resogun was free, but everybody was
still is free, by the way.
I mean, but everybody was playing it, talking about it, still getting higher scores, and regardless of if it's free or not, people were still talking about that more than they were talking about Killzone. And
but it didn't matter, right? Because it was an exclusive game that was on the Sony system.
Yeah, and that's fine. But as an indie game,
you couldn't play that game unless you had a Sony system. So
right, but to me, this is the first for a launch game. This is the first time that an indie has beat a AAA game in discussion. And people,
I don't think it's competing. To me, it's just like these are the games available on the system.
Yeah,
I would consider it.
Well, yeah,
games competing against each other on systems.
But what system has ever had a launch game that an indie game has been talked more than a AAA game in a launch? Like, what?
Well, this is the first time we've had. This is the first generation where indie games have been a significant part of a launch.
Like, that's my thing. I think it's offensive now to call things indie games. I think they've earned that space to be called. They're just games. I don't.
Well, I think because Resogun, reason why I call indie Resogun indie, because I've never heard of it and I don't know who the developer was when it came.
Housemarque is the developer.
Okay.
Right, but to me, like the only reason like it's something new for this generation is because one, digital is a huge thing versus the previous generation, and it's marketed well. Like if you have certain people pushing it, why not? And it was something new. So why not? I liked Killzone. I thought it was way better than 3.
Yeah, I thought this was like Killzone, Shadowfall.
But every single launch for me, every single launch system games, it's always you like 1 or 2 games out of the 12 games that come out on release date, anyways. I can go from my PS3 experience and say Resistance was the only game I played for a long time because that had
the first one.
The first one, yeah, that had a slow release.
The first one.
I didn't even
all systems are guilty of that. Even, and I think the rumor is Nintendo is trying to come out with a huge NX release.
Yeah, like the first 6 months they're supposed to have Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon.
Yeah, because they're really bad at missing release dates. It's you gotta help your brand, but I don't know. I just right now Sony has just been doing their own thing, even though they've been in the lead. They haven't come out changed anything. They're just sticking to their normal plan, and they don't have to worry about anything. So you have these Xbox Slims come out, and they're gonna fade away after a month or so.
But that's the same thing with Sony. It's just like, to me, I think Microsoft was making a bigger push with games than Sony is. Like, when's the last time we actually talked majorly about a Sony game? Besides, like, Horizon Red Dawn. Like, that's probably one of the most looked upon Sony games that's supposed to be hitting that platform next year. I think everybody's looking forward to.
I mean, Uncharted
games, but Bloodborne was a
Uncharted 4. I think a lot of people were excited for The Order until about 3 weeks before it launched, and they was having a whole bunch of problems. I was actually like really excited for The Order. Like
I didn't mind it. There's one part of the game I didn't like.
I wish they would have.
It's repetitive.
I wish they would have went more Gears of War with it than like quick time event style. But like I like the idea of that game. I hope that Ready at Dawn gets a chance to make a sequel, and I hope they do it right, and I hope they do it more like a Gears of War, especially because like Gears of War 4 looks freaking amazing at this point.
I don't think Ready at Dawn.
As soon as you play it, though, it can be.
I think Sony's probably gonna give The Order. The sequel to The Order, they're going to give it to another developer because Ready at Dawn is already working on something else.
Yeah,
So
but Ready at Dawn has 3 games in development, and one of them is a Sony exclusive.
it might be something else. I don't think it's the order.
Well, one
But
of them
the thing is,
GameStop is
like,
publishing.
He's still
and the
trying
other-
something new, right? He's still trying something new with an IP, and this is what I don't see. And this is my whole issue with Nintendo too. Is like you don't see anything new coming. You just see the same 10 characters coming. So if you got to take risks and you got to go exclusive,
Yeah,
that's what they did, right?
I also think Nintendo is kind of a bad. If you're gonna like say games are gonna be the same, I kind of feel like Nintendo.
I'm not saying games are the same. I'm saying it's the same IP.
Well, yeah, but Sony did the same thing with Killzone. Sony did the same thing with
No.
Resistance.
Sony doesn't. That's Guerrilla. Let's not confuse. So Guerrilla is games.
Guerrilla. I mean, because see, Sony doesn't have their own development. Every game that comes from
they own
Sony,
12 studios, right? This is the best
right?
thing
But
they did in.
but they're all second party. Sony doesn't have their own game. When Nintendo develops a game, it's coming straight from Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't have a second party thing unless when you pop in the game and it says another company. That's the second party with Nintendo.
My point is, it's not new. It's not a new character. It's
Well,
not a new
yeah,
IP.
but that's the thing with Sony. Sony doesn't have that. Yes,
But
Nintendo has.
they're going after someone to make that though. That's my point.
Right. So why can't Sony do the same thing that's Nintendo and have their own original titles that Sony is going to develop and publish themselves?
I guess they don't have to because they make money.
Yeah, but see, then you can't use the same argument about Nintendo making their own IPs because Nintendo themselves are making it. Sony doesn't have anything that does it. They have to go to a second party.
I think you're missing the point. They own 12 companies that do it for them.
Right, but Sony is supposed to. Sony is going to make their own games. Sony has to do it themselves. But I'm going to that 12.
Why do they have to do that when they own 12 companies that do it?
Because then you can't make that same argument against Nintendo. Sony has to go to somebody else within their company to make it, and Nintendo stays within Nintendo.
I guess the point is, Sony makes it,
Nintendo does,
or some other studio
Nintendo
makes
does
it
the same thing with some of their games.
It doesn't matter who makes it. It's whether you're bringing something new to that console, and they are not bringing anything new IP to that console in NX.
I mean, they brought Splatoon. Splatoon. Yeah, but what's the newest game from Sony themselves that they have brought out?
What is that? Let's take a step back here. So PlayStation 4 release. So, would you expect a game like The Order that was coming out? Would you expect that game would be coming out?
When it was supposed to come out?
Just in general, like the game's not announced yet. Like, would you expect a game like that's coming out, or other games like Bloodborne or stuff like that?
You're talking. Would you expect it like you would be expecting like a Mario game to be coming out?
Right. You know all of it off before NX is even announced.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're getting Mario Kart. We know we're getting Smash. We know we're getting Zelda.
Exactly.
Mario.
You already know the next many games are coming out for the system because they're the same.
Because we know that's a well-known franchise that Nintendo has.
In other words, they don't take risk.
But if Sony's going to announce the Order 1886, don't announce that Ready at Dawn is making it. That's the thing I'm trying to argue.
My point is they own it. It doesn't matter.
They don't own Ready at Dawn though.
Well, no, but I'm saying my point is it doesn't matter if who's making the game as long as you own the rights to release the game on your system.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that you can't go to another company and say that it's a Sony title, but another company is making it, but then say Nintendo has no right, or they're making the same game, but Nintendo is making their own thing. Nintendo's not going out to make it. Nintendo can only go to Retro, Monolith, and Monolith Soft.
Right. They can't afford to take a risk, is what you're saying.
They can, because Xenoblade Chronicles isn't really not.
I wouldn't call that new. I wouldn't call that new either.
The Xenoblade, well.
I wouldn't call it new. To me, it's like
Xenoblade Chronicles technically part of
risk of coming out with something new. New IP.
Because was it the regular Xeno? Xenoblade, not Xenoblade, Xenosaga. Wasn't that a SquareSoft game?
That's a SquareSoft game. Well, it was published.
Here's the thing: the team that did Xenogears in Xenosaga, part of that team left to form Monolith.
Right.
And they took the Xeno name with them, so it's technically a spiritual successor to those games. But
and Nintendo bought Monolith.
Yeah,
but
not exactly.
But I'm not saying Nintendo doesn't take risks, because they did. How did they come up with Kirby? How did they come up with the other games? Even the new Yoshi game that came out, they took, to me, it's just like they need this.
I understand what you're saying.
They're so predictable.
Because those games work where Sony doesn't have anything. Sony doesn't have anything for themselves that they can continue to bring.
I think it's smart not to do it yourself.
I think what you're saying is
you buy up your exclusives. You buy up your. This is what they did in the last. This is why they caught up at the end of PS3, and this is what they did over the other two companies. Is they bought these 12 companies to do their job for them.
But that's the problem. Why can't Sony?
that means their hands
but
off.
I'm saying that Sony can. Why can't Sony make a game that Sony could develop and publish themselves? If we're going to mock Nintendo for making
internal development studios. But
if we're going to mock
studios that make the games for them,
right? Yeah, but if we're going to get on Nintendo for. If we're going to get on Nintendo for making well-known well-known titles like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, or we're going to get on Nintendo about that, you got to kind of give it up to Nintendo that they have a strong lineup of great games that they themselves have made. Where can we say the same thing about Sony?
That's not my argument. My argument is bringing something new.
Sony hasn't really brought nothing new.
Sure, they have. They have the 12 companies that are doing it for them.
Right, but what has Sony made themselves that they don't have to go?
Sony doesn't have any internal studios. They own the studios to make them. They bought development studios, starting with Naughty Dog, back during the PS1 era to make games for them because they don't have any internal studios to do it. It's the same thing that Microsoft is doing. It's the same.
You make your money.
It's the same thing that Microsoft does. Microsoft doesn't own any internal studios. They have 343, which they own, the Coalition, which they own, Lionhead, which they closed down to do the games for them. Nintendo is a very specific and very special case to where they are a company that has internal studios and also allows outside companies to make games for them, like Intelligent Systems, Monolith Soft.
It's like businesses these days. It's just like, why would I hire someone in the States or North America to do it? I can hire someone overseas for half the price.
It's also because Nintendo is a video game company. Sony is a big company that also happens to have a video game platform. Microsoft is a company that also happens to make a video game platform, whereas Nintendo themselves, that is their primary source of making money, and them developing games internally is what keeps that company going. Whereas PlayStation, Sony's kind of a bad example, but if they shut down PlayStation tomorrow, they have other means of income. Whereas Nintendo,
it's not making income for them, right? The TV businesses,
right? I'm just saying. In theory, Sony could be making money elsewhere besides PlayStation.
Exactly.
Whereas, as of right now, I know Nintendo's trying to expand their reaches into TV shows, movies, theme parks, stuff like that. But as of right now, if Nintendo stopped producing video games, they would not be making any money whatsoever.
They will, because Nintendo has a lot of stock. Nintendo has a lot of stock in other things, and Nintendo has a lot of hardware in Japan that we don't know about.
I know. I'm just saying in
video game, but in video games
general. In a general spectrum of the way that we're looking at
if you didn't have these other consoles, then so you're waiting for a game on every 5 months to play on a system.
Well, that's all. I mean, you could argue that, but also Nintendo's development is split across two platforms.
My point was not comparing what the systems are. My point is proving of taking risk and new IP, and that's my argument.
And I think Sony has a lot of new IP, and I think it's going to be a lot of strong IP that's going to last them for a long time.
But besides the Last Guardian, besides the Order 1886, besides Horizon Rising Dawn, Bloodborne is questionable because of
game
Dark Souls.
Sony does own the Bloodborne IP.
Yeah.
Right. But would you really call that kind of new without saying having connections to
whether
Dark Souls?
it's copying another genre,
it's a spiritual successor to Demon Souls, which was a new idea at the time, which they also owned.
Which they
owned also.
Which I have a question about that. Why did they split Demon Souls to Dark Souls?
Because Dark Souls is a From Software game, and Namco Bandai published Dark Souls to release it on multiple platforms, whereas Sony owns the Demon Souls part of the franchise, which means that game can only be released on PlayStation.
But when Demon Souls came out, Atlas published it.
Here they published it because Sony didn't think that game would sell, and Atlas turned out to say, look, this game fits our portfolio.
It had a cult following, and then when they released it on Greatest Hits, and then it sold big time in North America.
Yeah.
So hold up. So when did Sony release it in Japan?
Sony published it in Japan, and they thought that the Western audience wouldn't be attracted to a game like this, so they decided not to publish it here. But then Atlas said, look, this game fits the type of games that we like to publish. This fits our portfolio. We're going to take a risk, and we're going to publish it here. And guess what? They probably made 10 times the amount of money they thought they were going to make on that game.
Okay, so now that clears that up. Because I always wonder about that, why Demon Souls and Dark Souls came out. I'm just like, oh, wait. Because I thought Dark Souls was the actual sequel to Demon Souls. I didn't know that.
Technically, at the time, Dark Souls was technically a sequel to that, but they could not use the term Demon Souls because Sony owns that. Like, they own the Demons part of the Souls series, so they had to call it something different to publish a sequel. And then that game took off and became, like, you know, the face of the Souls series, and then they just made Dark Souls 2 and 3 to, you know, sell more copies.
For Namco Bandai.
Yeah.
And then Bloodborne. Okay.
And then
Which
Sony
is different in a way. Like, those two games are kind of different in combat style. But.
Yeah, I mean, like the basic controls and the mechanics and stuff are different, or are the same in Bloodborne and Dark Souls, but like Bloodborne's a little bit easier to manage. It's a little bit faster paced. It rewards you for being aggressive instead of using your sword and shield, which actually Dark Souls actually kind of stole from Bloodborne a little bit. It actually rewards you for being aggressive as well, but
Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, but Bloodborne is actually. I see when people say Bloodborne is easier than anything in the Souls series. I actually really agree with them. Where like it's easy, like there's not as many resources to manage. There's not as many attributes to grind through. Like you know, you have like in Dark Souls you have like 12 to 15 different attributes that you need to constantly. You know, you need to pick like 7 or 8 of them constantly to be upgrading. Whereas Bloodborne, you pick your build. Do you want to use your gun? You go to Blood Tinge, and you can upgrade your gun faster. Or if you want a strength build, you pump it all into strength and endurance. And you know, vitality is obviously your life, and you want to pump it into that. You have 3 that you want to keep constantly using. So, I mean, Bloodborne, I would say, is a easier game to manage than Dark Souls. But you know.
See, I didn't know that they published it in Japan because of Atlas publishing it here in America.
Yeah. So, but back to like
Neo.
Back to
like, VR. We can talk about like I think about VR.
Okay,
VR,
so
like,
let's talk
Neo or VR, which most people are leaning towards Neo.
Let's talk VR for a second. I have a list of the 19 games that will be available day one for launch on PSVR. We have Eve Valkyrie, Batman Arkham VR, Battlezone, Eagle Flight, Harmonix Music VR, Hustle Kings VR, Job Simulator, Kismet, I don't know what that is, PlayStation VR Worlds, Res Infinite, Riggs, Mechanized Combat League, Robinson the Journey, Super Hypercube, Super Stardust Ultra VR, Tethered, PlayStation Playroom VR, Thumper, Tumble VR, and Until Dawn Rush of Blood are the 19 games available at launch, and there will be more titles afterwards. Now, a lot of these games aren't like full games, though. A lot of these are just basic experiences. Like Job Simulator is an experience that will last maybe a half hour.
But they considered it as a title.
Right, and Batman Arkham VR, they confirmed, was only about 2 or 3 hours long. So, I mean, that's a game, but, you know.
Yeah, so, it's a definition of that, but it's like, yeah.
So then I wonder what's going to be the 31. That marketing word is really weird. It's just like, okay, you're announcing 50 titles, but people are thinking like you're announcing 50
Yeah, but that's like saying, okay, I'm launching PS5 with 50 titles, but you're going to get Uncharted 5, Infamous 4, and then Flow 2, Journey 2,
like the big ones. The big ones are coming later, though, right? Like your Resident Evil, your Final Fantasy, your Battlefront, Star Trek. You got your Gollum. You got your Psychonauts.
Yeah. So like all those are coming, and like maybe they're not coming all this year, but like you're still gonna have 31 other experiences.
Do you remember the demo of 100-foot robot golf? Didn't that intrigue you?
But didn't they say 50 titles at the end of 2016?
I swear
Yeah, but I mean, like they'll end up showing those off at like I'm sure they'll show some games off at Gamescom. I'm sure PlayStation Experience, which is a little bit earlier this year. I think it's sometime in November this year, actually, instead of December.
Was it in October last year, or was it in November?
I thought it was in December last year. I'm not 100% sure. But like, they have a lot of places to show off these games. They could open up. They could open up this Neo announcement with PlayStation VR and say, "Look, here's 5 more games that you're going to experience this year on PlayStation VR. Oh, and by the way, we have this little thing called PlayStation 4 Neo coming out sometime next year. Here's the specs."
And would they be streaming this conference?
Probably. I'm sure they will be. Yeah, they would be dumb not to.
Yeah. We should all watch it and then argue after it.
That's all good.
Yeah.
It's a niche, but
I mean,
something else we forgot to talk about this week, which is a game I was following close, like got pushed back or changed.
Which one?
A game called Rhyme.
Oh yeah, didn't they get a new publisher?
Got a new publisher, so Sony's not pushing this exclusive game anymore. So that means it opens the door now for being on multi-platform, and now it's being done by another publisher. So now it's pushed back to 2017 sometime. But yeah, so that's gonna.
I saw screenshots of that today.
It looks great.
And like it looks like it kind of reminds me of Wind Waker a little bit.
It does,
to be quite honest with you.
Is it a 2D game?
It's a self-shaded 3D game.
Yeah.
Oh, 3D. Okay. Yeah. The way they had the picture, it looked like it was 2D. Now, when I forgot all about Rhyme.
Yeah, you should look it up right now because they released a bunch of new screenshots of it. It totally looks like Wind Waker. Like, it looks really good.
Did they announce it in 2015?
Was
it 2015?
They announced it at the PlayStation 4 reveal.
That's right. Yeah, it was shown off.
That long ago? Wow, yeah. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, because I was excited when they showed it. I'm like, why? It wasn't at the last conference, and I'm like, what's going on with this game? And I'm hoping it does come out because it looks gorgeous. So we'll see what it is, but. I guess we gotta wait and see. I mean, we're a few weeks away from September 7th, and we'll see what Sony comes and announces. So what if it's? Let's take this argument. What if it's not Neo? What if it's just an hour and a bit of VR? And that's
gonna be it. I mean, I don't see. I don't
They
think
have to.
or
if
an
it's
announcement of
PSVR, I think they would
PlayStation
just
4
do a
game.
conference at Gamescom. I don't think they would have their own conference.
They have to they have to push VR. They have to focus on the games. They have to get it really hyped up because I'm like the system is coming out soon. Like if you want to do some good marketing for a system, do it almost 2 months before the system come out to build some hype and stuff. You already got the pre-orders and everything. All right, now sell more on everybody on why they pre-order matters. And if you don't focus on that and focus on it just because of a new system coming out or a new redesign of a system, I should say, that's not going to matter to people. Because what if the PSVR came out? They didn't market it good, like really talk about the games and show off what you're going to get. People are going to be mad
that they did do that though, at the last E3 at the last conference. They did show off VR though.
For E3.
Yeah, they did market it.
Yeah, they showed off a lot of stuff, and plus, like I've been seeing a lot of PlayStation VR commercials floating around too. Like it's showing like rigs and PlayStation VR worlds, and there's another one that they've been showing off. But the commercial makes it look really like it's a PlayStation commercial. I mean, it looks just like all their other commercials. They're just marketing a new piece of hardware for these people. So.
I also think it's kind of a risk. Not saying like they have to push it so good, but it's like it's still risky territory due to the other competitors in the market. Where I don't hear people talking about Oculus Rift or HTC or something. Like I think it's almost like a risk for what they did with their Vita. Like is this thing going to take off? Is it not going to take off?
And plus, are any demo units out? Like at Best Buy,
I have
GameStop.
Seen at Best Buy, I got an email from GameStop. I think it's at the end of last week of August. I think to come in and try it out at one of the ones close by me.
That's probably when they'll do. Do they give a specific date, or they just say?
I think it was the 29th, the Monday. Because I'm in there
before the conference.
Yeah, it's before the conference. I think I remember seeing it was posted on the front door of the store I used to go to. So I'll check it out tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll see if that's still there, but.
Because that's one thing they definitely have to get out. They really got to get like demo units out for more of the public to experience.
Yeah, I agree with you because it's such it's a piece of hardware that you actually, I think, have to try before buying.
Right. I mean, you already got sold the pre-sale, so.
Yeah, they sell out quickly. That's 2 or 3 in a row, but that's a lot to. That's why I have a hard time with it because the price point. It's a lot to gamble. It's the same price as a system. Take a risk. So that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to try it first, but like VR doesn't really interest me a whole lot at all, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to try it, and if there's something out there like Eve Valkyrie looks really cool. I really want to try Eve Valkyrie. I
really want to try Res. That's what I want to try.
What about your streamers, though, right? How can you share that interaction with your followers?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about experiencing it for sure.
I think I've seen a few articles about you guys. I realize like some of them are like, yeah, PlayStation VR is pretty cool, but watching someone play PlayStation VR
is boring.
Yeah, but I still think we have to get to that experience eventually where you have to bring you into that world, right? And I think we're going to get there. I'd like to get there without that thing on your head. Like a Star Trek holographic room type thing, but I don't know. It's to me like it's like that whole age argument where I have with certain controllers is I just want to have one in my hand and I'll sit back in my chair or recliner and play the game. But I will say like for me as a gamer, I used to like that whole 60, 70-inch TV, sit back 40 feet away from the TV and game. Now I like to be closer up, and I don't care how big my TV is. Like, That's what me it's changed as a gamer. So we'll see. But I mean, maybe it's like a little tease of the Neo. Maybe it's like saying, "Hey, we're going to be announcing this stuff at this."
It might be the same. I mean, it might be the same thing as the Scorpio announcement, where they just make like a reel of developers saying, "Look, we're excited to develop for this thing. This is what you can look forward to," and then they'll say, "Out holiday 2017" or something. Like
that's what I told you. If it comes out a Destiny 2 bundle with it, boom, money right on there.
But see, you know what? I will agree with you, but I would say save that for the PlayStation experience because that's a fan created event. You know, this is for the fans of the PlayStation brand. You would make a bigger splash by bringing something like that out than you would this conference. In my personal thing, like if you say exclusively, Destiny 2, PlayStation 4 Neo consoles, day one purchase and all of this and all of that, you can pre-order right now if you want to. At the PlayStation experience, that would be the most satisfying thing to a lot of the fans who look forward to that. I don't think the September 7th will have that much impact if they did it now. If they made that overshadow like the PSVR, I don't think Sony would be smart enough to do that.
But they just announced this though. Like this just came up all of a sudden a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, obviously it was planned. You can't just put that stuff on.
Right, but people started getting their invitations to this event, which is how this all leaked, I think.
Exactly. So it's been planned for a bit. So,
but wasn't it for journalists?
Is this stealing thunder away from what else is going on with their competitors? And, you know, Nintendo's coming out to say something in a month or more, and you know, Microsoft just released their new consoles. So it's getting your name out there, right? So it's kind of unusual to have a conference like this on September 7th. It's when everyone knew VR was coming out prior to E3. Who didn't know VR was coming out?
Yeah. But I think people will. Plus, there's Tokyo Game Show in September, so they probably try to get it out the way before that because not most Americans focus on it, but Tokyo Game Show is kind of important to the video game industry to look forward to and to watch.
Yeah.
You know, so because this is the Sony conference in America.
The Sony conference?
Yeah.
No, I think they all go over there, but I don't think I don't think any of the major first parties are in
America, wasn't it? The September 7th.
Oh, the September 7th one is in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the 7th is on a Wednesday, so we definitely get to talk about it in a few weeks after the show.
Yeah, I'm excited. Any final thoughts on PlayStation Neo before we wrap up this show?
I'm excited.
I mean, I'm excited. I feel like I'm ready for an upgrade for my PlayStation, or just have a second one in the house.
I know for me, I'm just interested to see what's being announced. And Adam, I love you. No harm.
I'm also to me, as much as I love Sony, but I think VR is a terrible idea. I actually think it's a terrible idea, but if companies don't take risk and try something new, you don't know how things take off. And
I mean, Sony's always been there though. With motion controls, they had Move. After the Wii came out, they were there for 3D, pushing 3D real hard. Remember when every single first-party game had 3D attached to it? Mm-hmm. I remember playing.
I remember playing 3D on that 3D.
Yeah, I remember playing MotorStorm, Uncharted 3, and Killzone 3 all in 3D for a little bit at least, just to try it out. And then, Microsoft put 3D in Gears of War 3, and that was, those 3D experiences were cool, but after about 20 minutes, I had the biggest headache after playing Uncharted 3 in 3D. And Sony's always been there when something big is coming, or people are trying to push something to be big in terms of 3D or movement, and VR is the next thing that is being pushed.
I wonder will Sony ever create something to make Microsoft and Nintendo want to follow?
I think here's the thing. I kind of feel like everybody is in right now. Everybody's in the same mindset.
Almost like they're almost bridging that gap between PC and console. So that's why it's for the two ones like Microsoft and Sony. They're on par with PC now. They're just a step. They're just a year behind or 2 years behind PC gaming when it comes to what's been coming out. Like Nintendo's not in that same space when it comes in the hardware, and they don't have to be. But they're in the space of competing as a gaming console, and they're doing that to just not comparing themselves to a PC, which is not the right argument for Nintendo. But the other two, like people always say, like, is there going to be a PlayStation 5? There might not be a PlayStation. Depends on if cloud gaming eventually gets fixed and takes over, your hardware goes away, right? But I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell if I'm alive by then.
Yeah, and I know this is not PlayStation related, but Microsoft bought a company, Brisk or something, or they just bought a cloud streaming company, I think.
Beam is what they're called. Like not Bing, but Beam, BEAM. They bought, and it's like this cloud. It's the way it was described was called interactive streaming service, which probably most likely means like they were experimenting with cloud gaming. So.
Yeah, I think we're just it's the same with the technology. Like where digital is taking off with this generation, it's just like we're not there yet. Let's see what happens. And things have to change eventually, right? It's like it's the same with like people that thinking that like, oh, eventually physical won't be the popular brand. Look at CDs.
Yeah. I mean, we went from 2D to 3D. We went from carts to CDs and to Blu-rays, and now digital's taking over, and things got to change. Digital pretty soon. Digital downloads won't be a thing. It'll all be I'm going to stream Mass Effect 5 from the cloud, and that's how we're going to play games.
Yeah, that's the roadmap. It's going to happen. Like physical is going away. Is it probably going to go away? No. All things, but it is eventually with the roadmap of technology.
I highly doubt that physical is not. I highly doubt that because
why would you not think GameStop EB Games changed their business model because they were losing sales of that because of digital?
I think there's still going to be physical media for probably another decade or so.
But it is on the decline, right? Like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. It's on. Yeah.
There are numbers that point out that digital is taking off.
No. You know what? Digital is taking off for adults, but not for kids. And even when
it's hard to compare that though, because in America, I could say just America, internet offering is not everywhere. So you got to fix that problem.
Well, if you look at it like physical copies for PC games, I could understand that logic because of Steam being a popular platform for video games. When it comes to consoles, even when you tell people that, hey, we don't have the physical copy, you can still buy digital. We sell these cards that you can buy, or you can use your credit cards. A lot of people are like, no, I want the physical copy. And the first place they go to sometimes after you tell them you don't have it is that they go to GameStop and they look forward to that physical copy because a lot of people don't feel comfortable putting their credit card online for their system. I don't know why. B, they don't know that platform is available. Besides some teens and some adults, If it comes,
there's a generation coming up, right? So this is our generation that's new.
Well, the iPad generation is going to be all digital.
That's what I'm saying. Like our generation.
Well, because iPad has.
The kids are now in 5 years are going to be that generation. They will.
Yeah, but iPad is a different format than consoles. Consoles has always been physical. iPad has always been digital.
And when that console finally comes out that says, "Look, we're going to be all digital." Like that's gonna be more towards that.
Well, do you think we need to see how that works out? Like, one of these consoles have to be a digital, all digital system. Not talking about the PSP when they went digital and you can do no physical games for it, but I'm talking about yeah, like let's say a PS4 Neo was all digital. Should we now start looking at how successful that's going to be if that whole system has to be digital only? And how successful would that be? Because if that happens and it becomes successful, does now do Toys R Us, Target, GameStop, and any other business have to be worried?
You're cutting the middleman or personnel. Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. Yes. Hence, if we're going to talk music, hence why a company, at least in Canada, HMV, is now this tiny store, or not many of them anymore. CD sales were huge, but then we had digital take off. It destroyed that market. Hence, why don't you have video stores anymore to rent games anymore?
Because of Redbox.
Well, we don't have that. We did. We had Redbox in our grocery stores. They're all gone now. Didn't take off.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, there's one on every corner here. There's there's 5 boxes within a mile of our house. 5 red boxes.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I mean, it's something that's always
What about
it has to evolve over time, technology, right? So once you fix cloud, like Microsoft's messaging on the first release of this Xbox One was to be this digital box. That was their message. TV digital box. That was their messaging. And that's why it didn't go over well. But once you fix cloud gaming and making it more accessible to the public, it's inevitable. That's what's going to happen. You can't say physical is not going to that digital will eventually not. Well, we'll take over. It's going to happen. It's just whether it happens in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Like, it's going to happen. Like, it's just the way our technology works. Hence, why do I have something that's like this, like a phone, that can run games that was powerful, that was running on a regular Nintendo, that is now on my phone? It's technology. It's just inevitable at that point.
Yeah.
You can't stop it from happening. I, as a collector, like having physical because I like to see it, look it, pop it in, and play it right away. But it's nostalgia. Hence, why is record players still around? And it's a thing that's popular more than ever over the last few years. So there's still a niche for people that want that, but it's just inevitable at this point that digital will eventually become stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and then that's why they like to give more incentives for it. It's like you can play it at 12:01. It's already preloaded and downloaded to your system already. So that way, it's at 12:01. You can start playing instead of I pick it up from the store and I pop it in. I gotta wait for a 30 gig download.
Plus, all the digital sequels are offering you the first game for free. Like if you buy.
Well, that was a Steam thing they ever did before, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, if you pre-order Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4, you get Tomb Raider Definitive Edition free. If you, like I said earlier, South Park, you get the Stick of Truth for free. Dishonored 2, you get Dishonored Remastered for free. There's so many.
Too, like I think when I bought my Vita TV or whatever, it came with Lego the Movie digital.
Yeah.
Do you think that if they do go digital, it would be better to have a cloud base? So that it doesn't do anything with hard drive space.
You gotta fix the internet problem. Like we're getting fiber here next year, which I'm super excited for. But there's still people in the middle of the country that are still using dial-up. Like you can't have dial-up and have a digital console. Like it's just not gonna work. So.
Yeah, it's time will tell. But I also. At the beginning of this podcast, I like my physical for that reason of trading value.
Yeah.
So, that was good talk.
Good times.
Good times. I love you.
Oh man, I always love that people have their own opinions, man. Instead of
every time when I'm at work,
I respect people more when they have their own opinion and can back it. So.
When I'm at work and like we have our little Dualshocked Facebook chat. Every time I get a chance at work and I go on break or something and I see like I have like 19 missed messages and it's Edward and Adam just bickering back and forth about stuff. And I'm just like,
but you know what? I always root Adam because I love him.
Oh yeah, like it's
awesome.
We're one big happy.
You can't take it personal. It's not personal at all.
No, never take it personal. I would defend my Nintendo to the end, but I love PlayStation and I love
that. I would expect that. If you didn't, then it's like you're being hypocritical, right? Like
this would be a really boring podcast if we didn't defend Nintendo at some point.
If we all had the same opinion, I think it would be a very boring podcast.
That's why I can't wait for this conference, and hopefully we just get online and we
should
just discuss it.
One of these days, like after the PlayStation conference and after the Nintendo conference in September, we need to have a POW Block Cross Dualshocked like conversation about Neo versus NX, like, and just talk about both of them, and it's just going to be interesting because I want to hear like.
I don't think it should be comparable. I think we should just talk about each.
Well, I want to see what you think about NX as a mainly PlayStation guy.
Oh, okay.
And like, I want to see like what Ed thinks about Neo, if that's what they do end up announcing, or VR or whatever. I want to see. I want to talk about these two things. Like, it's just going to be a very special split episode.
But you already know how I feel about Neo. All I ask for Neo, if they do announce it, I just want an external hard drive for the PlayStation 4. That's pretty much what I'm like. I'm okay with the 4K and stuff like that, but I just feel like it's easier with an external hard drive. Being an option to add on instead of doing the pop out and like change it, because I feel like that is kind of like putting in a graphics card for a computer that you got to keep changing it and updating it.
Yeah. Well, guess we'll find out in a couple weeks. Yeah. Adam, where can we find you?
Oh wait, whoa, we're missing something.
Oh shoot, PlayStation Essential of the Week. Crap. Sorry, we've been talking for so long. I'm just like, PlayStation Essential. What is it? Valkyrie Profile. Years.
Suika did it?
No, it's the first one. It's the first one. Nice.
I haven't played the sequel. I should buy it for the Vita, but I haven't. But this is one of those games on the PS1 which I loved because the opening, like, you had to gain 100 characters. And you build your castle as the whole story goes on, and people obviously like the second one better, and has nostalgia, and it's very rare to get. But for nostalgia, this one Essential, I think, for role-playing games, you should definitely pick up and try. Probably averages in like $20 to $40, but I think completely worth it. And this is my Essential game for this week.
I went to 2 retro stores today that have both. Well, one retro store had that same copy for like $44. But if you don't feel like paying $44
for that,
exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like paying for that, I do recommend getting it for. I think it's available for PS3.
Yeah, PS3, Suikoden 1 and 2 are on there digitally.
All the stuff are digital, I mean,
yeah.
But
in case if you don't want the physical copy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Suikoden 1 is so good, man. And trying to find did you ever find 108 stars? Did you find 108 characters?
It's been I couldn't say yes or no because I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played it. That was at the same time I played like FF7 and most of it. But,
okay.
I'd like to play it again, but we'll see when I get around to playing it.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Adam, where can we find you?
You can find me Fallen Angel on my YouTube channel, Facebook. Anyway, I'm pushing myself. DNA Network, streaming on Twitch. Check me out playing Song of the Deep, Tales of Hysteria, and PSN handle _Angel.
Ed.
You can find me on Optional Opinion and World 1 at the Anomalous Radio Network, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can follow me on Twitter at thatretrocode, ThatRetrocode, whatever, at thatretrocode. SkirmishFrogs.com, IGN, Anime, ENIME. Check me out on the Digital Nerds Advocate Network.com for some of my writings. More stuff is coming, being ready to drop soon, so I'll have that up. And you can check me up on Power Block. We'll be having a new episode sometime soon.
Yeah, we need to record one of those soon because we've missed Power Block 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks, yeah.
It'll be all right.
You can check me out on past episodes of Nerds Gone Rogue, and you can check me out here at Dualshocked Podcast. And on Twitch at The Lyrical One, capital D A capital LYRICAL, the number 1, where I be teaching my Let's Learn coming in a couple of weeks. I still got to get to my Devil May Cry, my DMC. But come check that out, or come see me get killed in Mega Man 5 when I get back home from vacation.
Yeah.
I can watch you play that.
Ed, I need to add you to the DNA Live page for your Twitch stuff.
And I do apologize to everybody that season 4 episode of Optional Opinion has been delayed. I know I promised that last time, but it will be up coming soon this Friday, the season 4 episode. So do check that out. I have Corey, I have to make a own sheet of plugs. So there's going to be some added content. And I do have you, Adam. I have your Twitter and I have your Twitch page to plug. So I don't know what else you need me to plug or anything. But you could just let me know. But
I thought about doing different things on my YouTube channel, but it's just I'm not that fully organized yet to push it. But I'm still doing my streams. I kind of want to get to the reviews of the games, but life interferes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I got your Twitch and I got your Twitter handle. So
my Facebook page I link to too, but I don't do a lot of
Facebook.
There, but Fallen Angel is on there too. But.
All right, I'll make sure that I add it to the plug.
Cool.
And you can find me at Rogue Spartan 4 on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Wii U. I don't know my 3DS friend code, so sorry. Too many numbers. Can't just have a normal ID so people can find me. But you can find all my content and all of our content on digitalnerdadvocates.com. I do have Adam's Tales of the Stereo plays up there. Edward's featuring stuff there. You can watch us all live on Twitch on our DNA Live page. Check out our Redbubble store. I have some stuff going up on our store there too. I want to give that a quick plug. You can find all of our content on our YouTube page as well at youtube.com/digitalnerdadvocatesnetwork. You can check out all of our shows, including the DNA Podcast, NGR Radio, DNA Dualshocked, Pow Block, and coming soon, Connected, and all of our other stuff. There's a couple Let's Plays up there. I've been doing some Lucio Ball in Overwatch, and I've been recording some Axiom Verge. It's not up yet, but it should be up sometime next week. And you can find this show as well as our other shows on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Just search the DNA Podcast or NGR Radio or DNA Dualshocked. And until next week, we're out.
Peace, everybody.
Yeah.